Alright, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Man, things are getting crazier by the day. This new headline says a car dealer and a cop, a police, were shot dead in chaos at a halfway tree police station. Damn. Shout out to the Gleaner for this, because I'll leave my opinion later after I bring you the straight news. A bizarre series of events at the Halfway Tree police station in St. Andrew on Monday ended in the shooting deaths of a well-known businessman and a respected police sergeant. The first thing I'm thinking is, what could have caused this? It was pandemonium at the St. Andrew Central Division headquarters on Monday after Dion Sai, part owner of the Size Motors, reportedly disarmed a policeman and shot dead Detective Sergeant Kevin Main before turning the gun on himself as he was being fired on by other police personnel. Me have to read that over again to you. We're going to have to read that part over because there's a whole lot of shooting and firing going on right here. This is obviously a murder-suicide. So it was pandemonium at the St. Andrews Central Divisional Headquarters on Monday after Dion Sai, part owner of Size Motors, reportedly disarmed a policeman and shot dead Detective Sergeant Kevin Main. So him take away the gun from the police and shoot Detective Sergeant Kevin Main with it. And while he was doing that, other police officers were shooting him for shooting the police officer. But while they were shooting him for shooting the police officer, he was also shooting himself. My God. Now, according to the Gleaner, Sai shot himself in the mouth. It was not immediately clear whether he was killed by the self-inflicted gunshot wound or by bullets that were fired at him by other lawmen. Sai and his wife, Sophia Ramsundar Sai, had reportedly been before the court on Monday to answer to fraud-related charges. Before I go any further, I remember the last time I encountered this name, Singh. Singh is what I call it, and a lot of people were saying, "Oh my God, SouFlo, stop pronouncing it like that. It's not Singh, it's Sai." Listen, when I say Singh or Sai today, you know say that me I talk about, right? Tony and Sai, who was with Popcorn. And then these people, Sai. Obviously, this name is an Indian name, right? Or of Indian heritage. Usually of the more prominent side of Indian families. As you know, the Indian culture has a caste system. However, I know that we are going to get into today. Let's get back to this. So this says that they were before the courts, him and his wife. The car dealer and his wife were before the courts up to Monday for answering to fraud-related charges. That matter was before the parish judge Sanchia Borrell, and the accused were represented by attorney C.J. Mitchell. So they had an attorney and they went to court. According to the news reports out of this article out of Jamaica, they understand that monies that were owed to complainants for motor vehicle transactions were paid over before the court hearing, and when the matter was called up on Monday, it was stood down to give police time to verify whether they had further interested in the accused. So, in other words, they went to court in the first place because of monies that were owed to people who had complained about services, etc., etc. They had been defrauded out of their money, is my understanding. Now, before the court case actually got called up, it seems like Sai paid off the money. Now, when they went to court, and he said, "Well, Your Honor, we have paid the money back to the people who have complained," Then the judge says, okay, we will stand this one down. So the case was stood down until further notice. So we will give the police enough time to verify if those monies were indeed paid back and if there is any other further interest in having you guys here in the court. Now, after spending quite some time in the courtroom, it says that the sides, both husband and wife, they left for the Criminal Investigation Branch, CIB office, sometime after 1 p.m. Maine was reportedly the investigating officer in a case against the car dealers. Maine was the lead officer, investigating officer in a case against the car dealers. So, Detective Sergeant Kevin Maine was leading the investigation. So they had a gripe with him then. Jeez and peace. Now, he was escorting Cy to the lockup sometime after 5 p.m. when he saw that the businessman was in possession of a cell phone going into lockup. The policeman was attempting to take the cell phone from Cy when they got into a tussle. And another policeman went to assist the officer, Maine, during that tussle. I guess Cy said him not giving up his cell phone. Him want to lock up with his cell phone so he can make his calls. Cy reportedly pulled the service pistol from the second policeman and shot Maine multiple times before turning the weapon on himself as the lawman colleague opened fire at the businessman. Now this sounds like somebody who was suicidal from the get-go, maybe cracking under pressures of business not going the way that he thought business should be going. You know, some people, when they start to fall apart financially, them just can't hold themselves together. You know, but we're going to talk about that later. I will give my summation of all this at the end. So it is not the detective, it is not Maine's weapon that was pulled and used on him. Just to clear that up. The weapon that was pulled was the other police officer who came to intervene to help Sergeant Maine while he was tussling for the cell phone with Cy. And so I bet I never did come help him then because he wouldn't have had a gun to pull. Cy reportedly pulled the service pistol from the second police officer and shot Maine multiple times. My God. All this is happening inside the police station. Both men were taken to the Kingston Public Hospital at KPH, where they were both pronounced dead on arrival. The halfway tree CIB is still probing the incident. Now, Sergeant Maine, is said to have worked with campus police at the University of the West Indies in St. Andrew during Keith Trinity Gardner's tenure as Director of Security. It is said that he worked for about 2 years. He was a very nice policeman, is how they remember him. They used to call him Superman, a colleague of the now deceased policeman said. The Independent Commission of Investigation was notified of the incident, and a team of investigators arrived at the scene just after 8 o'clock last night and began their probe. Cy's Motors has been the subject of several complaints in recent years, with disgruntled clients raising concerns in articles that were published in the Jamaica Gleaner about issues that they faced while they were attempting to purchase motor vehicles from the said company. The Halfway Tree CIB has confirmed that the car dealership was being investigated in relation to multiple allegations of fraud. Several members of the High Command Police visited the crime scene yesterday. Now, it is the second time in 2 months that a detainee has fired a policeman's weapon at a police station. Wow. In May, a 35-year-old inmate reportedly snatched a policeman's gun from under a desk near the cell block at the Montego Bay Police Station in Freeport and shot a fellow detainee with the police gun. That is negligence on part of the police. He reportedly continued to fire more shots in the cell area, grazing a cop with a bullet. An armed female cop who was in the vicinity reportedly went to assist her distressed colleague, but was reportedly frightened and was unable to respond. She couldn't believe, say, detainee have gun a fire in a that the area there. Another cop took her weapon from her and fired it at the prisoner with the gun, hitting him in the upper body and in the left foot, according to the report. So I freeze the policewoman, I freeze the policewoman freeze up, in a time when she have her gun on her. But she frightened because she said the place is invaded by gunmen. And me no want in a no shootout with them, make them kill me in here. I guess she was saying, listen, they don't pay me enough for this. So make me duck and find somewhere to hide. And somebody else who brave enough can take the gun and go out there go fire it after them. And that's exactly what she did. Another cop took her weapon and fired at the prisoner with the gun and hit him in the upper body and the left foot. The prisoner then reportedly threw the gun on the floor after he was shot, and it was retrieved by the other cops. The injured cop, the rogue prisoner, and the man that he shot were taken to Cornwall Regional Hospital for treatment, and in that incident, it is said that nobody died. Me granny, I have so much to say here. This is wild. This is super wild. I have so much to say here. First of all, the cop that went to go help in the side situation when the Detective Sergeant Kevin Main was walking him back to the cell to lock up and decided he had to take the cell phone from him. The police officer that came to help him in the tussle for the cell phone, that police officer obviously, listen, as a law enforcement official, you are responsible for your weapon. Your weapon is supposed to be safely secured. You have two police officers tussling with one man, and that one man was able to get to one of these police officers' gun and use the gun on not only a fellow police officer but on himself as well. I am willing to bet, though, that there will be no accountability for losing possession of your gun inside of the police station house. That makes no sense to me. Somebody has to be held accountable. Or maybe I'm just saying this because of my years in the military. Listen, let me tell you something, right? As an infantryman in the U.S. military, you sleep with that rifle, Your gun goes wherever you go. Even when you go to take a boo-boo, number 2, doo-doo, in toilet, and you hold your gun in a special way, and nobody else is allowed to touch your gun, or nobody else can take your gun away from you. Anything that happens with that gun outside of your possession is your responsibility. I don't know if they're that strict in Jamaica, but this is a tragic situation all around. Let me first of all say, though, my condolences goes out to Detective Sergeant Kevin Main. He served, obviously. A lot of people are saying he was a good person all around, and it's a sad and tragic situation, and these are some of the hazards that go along with that profession. That's no other way that I can say it. Now, as for the situation where the gun was under the desk near a cell block, and one of the detainees took the gun and shot another detainee and then started firing gunshot all up in the place to where a armed police officer woman decided that she was too afraid to fire back. So somebody else had to take her gun, a fellow officer, and shoot this detainee for the detainee to drop that gun. It sounds like some training is needed as to how to properly secure your weapon while on duty. Who takes their gun and just put it down haphazardly under their desk? Should your gun not be on your persons at all times in a secured manner that no one can actually easily take it off of you? I know. Everybody is going to say, well, things happen, you know. And in hindsight, you can say Ray and Tay, but it happened already. Wanna talk to me in the comment section and tell me how me sound? Man, shocking, to say the least. I'll catch y'all on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.